Hi, my dear lovely students. Welcome to the session where we are going to solve some interesting sentence completion questions. We have already covered single blank and dual blank questions. In this video, we are going to solve some triple blank questions. My name is Juhi Narula, and let me tell you how would be the structure of the class. So for initial few minutes, we are going to discuss the strategies, what should be the right approach to solve the questions, and then we will follow it by an intense practice session. So let's get started. So see, when we talk about the sentence completion questions, people might also call it fill in the blank questions. In GRE, it is labeled as text completion questions when there are triple blanks. And if there is one single blank, then there are at times six answer choices. I'm talking about GRE, and you need to pick two answers. There would be random variations in the number of choices. Depending on the paper that you are appearing for, but usually you have triple blanks, and for each blank you need to pick up one right answer, right? So when we talk about the strategy, we need to understand that what should be done right in order to reach to the right answer. So there are two aspects to question solving. One, you should know the words. So I am again emphasizing on this particular idea that no matter how good you are with your skills to decode the questions, if you are not familiar with the words, you are going to be in a real tough situation. And there might be some papers where you might not get direct vocab based questions. For example, cat, there will be no direct vocabulary driven question, but that doesn't at all mean that we are not going to invest in vocabulary building. It's a continuous process and requires effort. So my suggestion would be that you should begin as early as you can, right? So if it means starting from today, you can begin with the same day, right? So how do you prepare for vocabulary? We have already made videos where we have suggested a lot of interesting tactics, techniques that should be very helpful. Just to quickly touch base, my primary suggestion would be that don't cram. So when you start cramming the words, the difficulty happens. So rather, what you can do is you can find innovative ways to enhance your vocabulary. Let me just tell you what are the ways. We'll just quickly have a 5 minutes discussion so that you are in sync. And if you want more elaborate perspective, then you can watch the videos we have made for vocabulary building. So the first strategy is to know the roots, right? It's a very interesting technique, and you can learn so many words by following the root word approach. And there is an interesting book, Word Power Made Easy. You can please buy the book. This is an investment that you're doing for future self, and the book is not very expensive, right? So you can buy this book. The book is by Norman Lewis. So this is an interesting buy that should really help you. So how does this root work? Say for example, I'm sure you must have heard of this word philanthropy. If you have not heard, let me teach you this word. Phil stands for love and anthro stands for mankind. So philanthropy becomes what? Love for mankind. Now instead of Phil, if I replace it with miss, which is a negative root, so misanthropy would be hatred for mankind, and that changes the meaning of the word. Right now, there is this root anthro, and I can make this word anthropology, which becomes what? Logy is study. So anthropology becomes study of mankind, right? Or if I take this root fill, I can have this root biblio and file. So bibliophile is a person who loves reading, right? Now there is another word, that is bibliography. That is the study of books the author does in order to create a report or write a book. So you can see that how many words quickly you will be able to learn if you know the roots, right? Say for instance, you know this root ben, which means kind. Now there are words which are like benevolent, right? Benefactor, beneficiary, bona fide, and the list is endless, right? So benediction. So there's so many words. So the moment you see that there is this word which starts with root ben, so at least eliminating the incorrect choices would really become easy for you. So this is my first suggestion, that you go for your root word approach, right? So roots. Second is create flashcards. So how do we create flashcards? Let me just rub the board for you. Otherwise it looks too messy. Just give me a minute. So, roots are really interesting, and there are a lot of roots. Like there is this root, CRESI, which stands for rule. So, bureaucracy, autocracy, democracy, or there is this root DEM, which stands for people. So, demography, epidemic, pandemic, endemic, right? There's so many words that you can learn, right? So how do we make the flashcards? Let me just quickly tell you that. Take a good quality piece of paper, write 5 words, and for each word write two antonyms and two synonyms, and on the back side of it, that means when you're going to flip the card, write a key sentence using the main word, right? So in a way you are learning roughly 25 words in a card. Make 5 such cards, and keep a daily target of 25 words, or you can keep it like this, that a weekly target is of 125 words. So whatever words you are learning while you're reading, while you're solving the questions, you can write those words in the flashcards. Keep the size to be small so that the cards are handy, right? So this is the second approach. The third approach is that you can create mnemonics. Mnemonics are memory tools that people create in the personalized way in order to improve the retention. That can be association with the character or personality or some key term, right? So like if I give you this word, for instance, I'll give you this word gregarious. So gregarious means a person who's outgoing. So think of a person in your circle who's extremely friendly and outgoing, who loves to party around, and you can fit in the word there, right? Next is another interesting approach. This is kangaroo words. So this approach is also becoming popular these days, where you try to find the meaning of the word in the word itself. It's not practically possible for each word that you're going to learn, but it is feasible for many of the words. Let me show you one example. I'm sure you have heard of this word pellucid. If you have not heard, it means clear, right? And you'll see that lucid is there in pellucid itself, which means clear. So the meaning of the word is in the word itself. So that's what we mean by kangaroo word. So again, a very interesting approach to enhance your vocabulary, and it's a fun approach, right? Of course, the famous approach is read as much as you can. This will not only help you enhance your vocabulary, but in a way this is also going to help you to do better in reading comprehension, or rather all the questions which are based on comprehension, the ability to infer the information provided in the data. So you'll see, be it a para completion question, or be it a para jumble question, or be it a summary question, or the odd one out question, you would need to comprehend the data rightly. So if you are having good command over reading, you'll really find a lot of edge in solving such questions. So here we have talked about that, what can be the approach to build vocabulary. So yes, this problem I have given you a reasonable solution. In detailed version we have had a very quick discussion, because our idea would be to solve more questions in this video. We have detailed videos of vocabulary building. You can watch those videos so that you get more insight. Now, the next important thing is understanding the statement. So, what do the students do at sometimes? They would focus more on building vocabulary, and they would not focus on question solving, or vice versa. So, we need to strike a balance, and we need to ensure that both the processes will go hand in hand. You cannot do it like this, that you are focusing on just enhancing your vocabulary, but you are not solving questions. So this is something important that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so let's talk about what should be the right approach to question solving. So this is the typical approach. I'll give you 1 minute. Please write this approach. So many a times students ask me that, ma'am, is it necessary to follow an approach? So if you're simply asking me in yes or no, my answer would be yes, because then you have a right way to deal with the questions. If you're not having an approach, then you would be just trying to solve the questions on your own. If you are having a lucky day, you might reach to the right answers. If it's a bad day, then you will be in a deep trouble, and that we wouldn't want. So if you have a strategic approach, that always helps. So please take a minute and write down these steps, so that you have the rules with you, right? And then you can apply the rules. So I hope you have written. Let's start the discussion. So the first step is start with the easier blanks. So if there are three blanks, what would usually students do? They would want to solve this first, then move to the second, and then move to the third one, which is not a right thing. Start with the blank which you find the easiest, right? It can be the third blank, it can be the second one, or it can also be the first one. Now use that particular completed version to help you solve the other two parts of the question, right? So at times students don't utilize the filled blank, or they would not get into this idea that you can start with any of the blanks, and that's where the real mess happens. There can be many instances where you would not be able to reach to the right answer for the first one without understanding the later part. So with your wisdom, with your prudence, with your intelligence, with your insight, try to start with the easier blank. Find out that which blank will work the most for you when you will begin with, or where are you able to absorb some information. Second is look for the subject of discussion. So identify who or what are we talking about, right? Then try to get more additional information or insight regarding that particular subject. So what is the sentence trying to communicate? Do that. It's not going to take a lot of time. So the students have got, I don't know how, but they have got this thought in their minds that if they are going to you know apply the rules, it's going to take a lot of time. No, it is just a process that you're going to make for yourself, and it will imbibe in your system. So it would not require additional time, but you will have the right approach to deal with the question. Now, next thing is look for transition words. So, what are transition words? Transition words help us understand how the discussion is proceeding. So, there can be words like but, yet, nonetheless, in spite, despite, right? So, all these words will help you understand how the author is, taking the discussion in negative direction. Now, there can be some positive transition words also, like furthermore, in addition to, moreover, firstly, and then secondly, and so on. Or there can be conclusion indicators, right? So what will be conclusion indicators? Like words like thus, hence, therefore. These are conclusion indicators that will help you understand the author is trying to reach to a conclusion here. So look for these clues. I really put a lot of importance on observing the transition words, because these are clues offered to you in a platter, and if you're not utilizing these clues, you're making a big mistake, right? So now you've understood the essence of discussion. Before you take a look at the answer choices, always have an answer in your mind, right? So while you are predicting the answer, so I usually say that this step is like predicting the answer. So while we are predicting the answer, we are going to keep three important things in mind. Word should be simple, right? Recycled. Recycle means, if possible, you can use the text of the language only to create the word, right? And it is not only restricted to one word. You can have multiple words, you can have a phrase also here, right? So don't limit yourself that I just need to find one word to fit the blank. Of course the choice would be like this, but if you have a phrase that you would want to fit in, that's absolutely fine, right? The idea is just to give you some clarity as to how the answer will look like. Believe me on this, if you are going to perform this step, you are going to be far more clear, and there would be no incorrect answer choice that's going to attract you, right? So if you have completed one plank, you're going to apply the steps again for the next plank, and then you're going to reach to the last plank. So that's a chain that you are going to create of ideas, and you're going to put together in one thread. Once you have finished solving all the three blanks, then always ensure that you read the entire sentence, so that you are able to come to this conclusion that there is a common thread of discussion going on, and there is cohesion in the ideas, right? So always read the entire paragraph once you are done solving, right? So these are few quick suggestions, and I'm sure you're going to find them really useful if you're going to apply them in questions. So let's see how are we going to solve the questions with this strategy. As a first question, I'm going to give you 1 minute. Please try solving it, and then we are going to discuss. In case of finding difficult to fetch the answers or get the meaning of the words, you can refer to this app, Merriam Webster. This is a free app and you get the meanings from this particular app, and you can also use it in offline mode. So I'll give you 1 minute. Please try solving this question and then we are going to discuss it. Let's try solving it together now. The veteran. So veteran means senior artist. Okay. So let me just write the meaning of this word. You can write on the meaning of the words that you're finding new. Senior. So veteran cricketer, a senior, seasoned. Seasoned is also the word that you can use. Artist was full of compassion. Compassion is kindness. Had dash faith in his principles and believed in equality. So here you will get that this is saying that he is full of compassion and believed in equality. So ideas are running in the positive direction. If you look at this and, which is a transition word, right? So and takes the discussion forward. So that means he would have strong faith in his principles, or there would be a positive word that will fit in. So I can say positive word or I can say strong. So that's how you can fit the blank. So while I was reading it, I was able to, since this is a complete statement, I was able to get the first blank, so I can begin with the first blank and I can do process of elimination. So RDS is, which is tough, right? Tough or a difficult task, right? So this is not matching with strong. Unswerving is strong, something which doesn't get shaken. So this matches with our predicted answer. We can keep this. Arcane, of course, is a very easy elimination. So this is going to be the correct answer choice. So the first blank we are going to go for B. Now what are we going to do? We are going to repeat the process for the rest of the blanks. He was dash in tradition but could dash someone yielding to superstition. So are you able to understand that there is but? So this is taking the discussion in opposite direction. So he's saying he was dash in tradition. So he's already showing that he had strong faith and believed in equality. So he was into tradition, or he was immersed in tradition, or he believed strongly in tradition, right? So ambivalent is having mixed feelings, right? So there are two words. There is this word ambivalent, which is having mixed emotions, right? And then there is ambiguous. These are homonym sort of words, which is confusing, right? Or when you don't have much of clarity. Ambi means dual, right? So that's how the root is there. So if you will see, ambivalent is mixed, but what we are saying is he was immersed in tradition. So ambivalent will not fit it. Animated is, which is life. Anim is life. So animated is, which is when you see animation series. So that will also be not the match. Steeped is immersed. अंदर तक गए हुए. Steeped will fit in. For second blank, F would be the right answer. But could dash someone yielding to superstition. Yielding to means giving to, or leading to superstition. सुपरस्टिशन इज व्हेन यू आर अंधविश्वास. So ऐसे अगर मैं आपको हिंदी में कहूँ तो अंधविश्वास, right? So that's superstition. So shied is to, so he would do what, he's into tradition, but अगर कोई superstition की तरफ जाता है तो उसको उनको डांट देते हैं, right? But he could criticize or scold. So that will be my predicted word. Shied is to criticize, so this we can keep. Emulate is to improve, right? Make better. और एग्रीगेट आपसे पूछना एग्रीगेट मार्क्स कितने हैं, तो टोटल, right? So this will not match, H will not match, so G will be for this particular blank, right? So now we have solved the entire blank. Now we can read it. The veteran artist was full of compassion and had unswerving, that means strong faith in his principles and believed in equality. He was deep rooted in tradition but could scold someone yielding to superstition. तो हमने but से ये लगाया कि यहाँ से आइडिया opposite direction में जाएगा. And और but दोनों transition words थे. So I hope you are clear. You know the meaning of the words that are there on the screen. So let's move to the next question. I'll give you 1 minute. Please try this and then we are going to discuss. So let's begin with the discussion. The Vice Chancellor of the university stated, means said, in the annual conference that the university makes an endeavor. Endeavor is effort to bring the students from underprivileged background at par, that means equality, and underprivileged, that means who are not having the privilege, right? uh, with others while dash them. So there is this transition while. तो वाइस चांसलर कह रहे हैं कि यूनिवर्सिटी में कि उनका एफर्ट है कि अंडर प्रिविलेज स्टूडेंट्स को पावर में लाएं while dash them with larger university culture. तो यहाँ पर ये blank I'm finding it difficult to solve, so I can further proceed. And by making them dash contributors. So what sort of contributors? If you are trying to, bring the underprivileged students at par with others, then you would want to make them strong contributors or effective contributors. So instead of first blank, I would first want to solve the second one. So my predicted word would be strong and effective. So austere is simple. So you would not want to make them strong, I mean, simple contributors. If you're trying to bring them at par with others, then you would not want simplicity there, right? Audacious means brave. So brave is also not the right word. Prominent means strong, effective. So F will be the right answer. So this choice also goes out. So for the second blank, we are going to pick the F option, which is prominent, right? So let's further see. To making a university a vibrant so that's the goal, to make the university a vibrant means cheerful, lively celebration of intellectual, what, intellectual wisdom, right? It would be a positive word, intellectual wisdom, or individual skill, right? So skills or wisdom, so that would be the predicted word. Barren is empty, you would not want something to be empty, right? Prowess is skills, so this matches. Bewilderment is when you are confused, so in a state of confusion, bewilderment is confusion, so you don't know what to do. So that is the reason I will also not be the best match. So what are we going to do? We are going to pick H as an answer for this blank. So we have two blanks sorted. Now we can come to the first one. The Vice Chancellor of the university stated that university is making an effort to bring the students from underprivileged background at par with others while dash them with a large university culture. So they would want the students to adapt to the university culture, right? So we can have this work while adapting. That's what we have got with the rest of the idea also, that we'll make them strong contributors and university will have cheerful celebration of intellectual skill set. So adapting will be the predicted word. Integrating we can keep, right? Bolster hota hai encourage karna. So we would want them to adapt the university culture, right? So this will not be the answer. Undermine is weaken karna, कमजोर करना, right? So undermining will also go out. So adapting matches with integrating, so we are going to pick A as an answer. So A, F, H would be the right answer choice. Just to get the crux of the discussion right, we can always make an additional step where we can read the entire paragraph provided to know that we have one common thread flowing in the entire discussion. So the Vice Chancellor of University stated in the annual conference that a university makes an effort to bring the students from underprivileged background at par with others, while adapting them, or integrating them with the larger university culture. So they're making an effort that those students should be a part of the university culture. And what additionally they are going to do, they are going to make strong contributors to making the university where everybody would be vibrant, as cheerful, full of life, celebration of intellectual skill sets, right? So I hope you are clear with the question. Let's try the next one. So I'll give you a minute, please try this, and then we are going to discuss. So let's try this. The film aims to dreamy and inspiring rag to riches story. So rag is when you are poor and then you become rich. So there's a transformation or change, and a lesson in what greed can do. But in the pursuit of being dash and preachy fairy tale, what works for the film is dash of characters who make their presence felt through excessive foot and powerfully loud voices.